Everyone, very good morning, and I hope all of you are safe and you're having a good monsoon in your state, not flooding though. We'll start for today. Very good morning, and those of you who are present in this session, please ping me on the live chat so that I'll know that you are here. And let's begin. Briefly about me, I'm Siddhi Bangard. Uh, I graduated from BIT Mesra Ranchi. I have 3 years of teaching experience. I appeared for 4 mains in an interview, and I did my postgrad from XLRI Jamshedpur. This is my Unacademy profile link. So if you have any queries regarding my classes, regarding anything, absolutely anything, please feel free to follow me on Unacademy. This is the profile link, and if you have any doubts, please feel free to message me on the Unacademy app. I will surely get back to you. With that, folks, welcome to Unacademy. Let's crack it UPSC CSE in English. So, at Unacademy, under our plus courses, you get daily live classes where you can chat with the educator like you will be doing right now. Live test and quizzes. I'm already taking a prelims test series on Unacademy and on YouTube. This is one of them. I will just show you a snapshot of the prelims test series that I'm taking on Unacademy. All our courses are aligned to the UPSC syllabus, and with one subscription of Unacademy, you get access to all our live and recorded courses. So there are more than 200 courses that you can choose from. And please download the Unacademy learning app so that you can track your learning, as well as it is easier to connect with the educators. So we also have the Unacademy Iconic program, which is a very unique program for the online fraternity, because under this program, the best part is that you will be assigned a personal mentor. So apart from all the benefits that you get in the plus courses, here you also get a personal mentor who will be there throughout your preparation journey of the UPSC, and anyone, freshers, repeat aspirants, can be a part of this Unacademy Iconic program. So 1 year Iconic program is for 64,000, 2 year is for 99,000, and you can use my code SBUS to get an instant 10% off on either of the programs. So for 1 year it becomes 57,600, and for 2 years it becomes 89,100. So as I told you, under Iconic, apart from the benefits of the plus classes, that is live classes, test series, unlimited practice, structured schedule, you also get a personal coach, daily mains Q&A practice, study planner, and a personalized feedback to aid you in your UPSC journey. And under the plus courses, the 1 year fee is 44,000, the 2 year fee is 64,000. Again, if you use my code SBUS, you get an instant 10% off. So that means the 44,000 comes down to 39,600, and the 64,000 comes down to 57,600. And you can use my code SBUS for any subscription under the UPSC CSE category. So as you can see, under plus you get live classes, test series, unlimited practice, and a structured schedule. With that, folks, choose wisely, choose an academy and choose Iconic. Use my code SBUS to get an instant 10% off on any of the Unacademy subscription courses. And let's begin today's session. This is my special class that I take. It is live at 8:30 p.m. every day, apart from the days when I'm ill. It is live every day at 8:30 p.m. It's a prelim mini mock test series for current affairs only. So we are covering the entire current affairs for UPSC 2020 under this. This is a snapshot from the class that I just took yesterday. So, and under this class, you can also download the PDF of the questions, either in the notated form or annotated form, so that it is easier for you to revise. With that, let's proceed. So, best of luck for today's test. We have some really nice questions. I included a little bit more of, mapping questions today. So, let's begin. Most importantly, the ground rules are feel free to be wrong, be as much wrong as you want to. I'm here to help you out. It is okay if you make mistakes. You will grow slowly, but you will grow tremendously. So don't worry with that. Remember your successes as much as you remember your mistakes, so that you can replicate your success. Mostly for the entire gamut of the class, 25 to 30 seconds I will give you for a question to read and 30 seconds to answer. Apart from the rapid fire round, where only 30 seconds will be given to both read and answer. And most importantly, it's a morning session. I love this session and I want you to enjoy this session so that the rest of the preparation falls into place nicely. So improve each day. Let's proceed with the monthly 5. Let me know who all are there today. Hi Rangesh. My mother is good, Afreen. Not too good though. So let me see how it pans out. I'll keep you guys informed on that. Hello Naveen. Hello Suman. Hi Supriya. Anybody else here? All right. So we'll proceed. If there's anybody else, please let me know. All right. So first question on your screens. 25 seconds to read and 30 seconds to answer. Very easy question. I think the color coding should have been green rather than medium. Hello Sweta. Hi Varun. Hi Akash. Good morning. Good morning Nandu. Nandu, why did you not come for yesterday's class? Good morning Asif. Anyone else was joined? Hello Aditya. Okay, Sweta has already answered me. Very good. Sweta, you came to yesterday's class also, right? On Unacademy? You were there, right? You performed well. Uh-huh. Yes, Sweta, I got your answer. A is for the first one. Who else has joined in? Please let me know so that I can call out your names. All right? Okay. Yes, A is correct. The index has been released, I think a day or two before the index has been released, Digital Quality of Life. I think this index contains everything that you would want to know about digital quality of life, or you can use about digitization of agenda of the government. Where are the lacunas, where we want to do better, who is doing better, how. So I guess this is one of the important indices. So please go through it in detail. I will cover some aspects of it here, but I really want you to read it in a little bit more in detail so that it will help you out in the mains exam. So make a note of it and attach it in your revision notebook. It will be helpful for you whenever you want to write about any essay or in the GS2 paper, GS3 paper, wherever you want to write it. So coming back, yes, the index has been released by Surfshark, and electronic security is one of the parameters of this index. Definitely cyber security or the security of your gadgets, it's of primary importance whenever you're talking about digital quality of life. So both 1 and 2 are correct. And yes, India does not rank among the highest in the world in terms of internet quality. In fact, that is where we actually lack. But we rank amongst the highest in the world in internet affordability. So let's check out the ranks. Rangesh, C is incorrect. Oh, I should do that. 3 is not correct actually. So it's internet quality that we are talking about. All right. And Rangesh, since it's a world index, we will definitely be comparing with the best in the world. Why would be comparing with somebody down below? So let's talk about it. In fact, when it comes to internet quality, India ranks 57th. The entire indice, India ranks 57th out of 85 countries that have been studied. And the index studies 5 fundamental pillars. So they are internet affordability, as I already told you, it's pretty high. Internet quality, low. Electronic infrastructure, okay. Electronic security, not so much okay. I still haven't got my phone back. And electronic government, not so much okay. So let's see what are the rankings. So as told, Rangesh, here we befuddle your statement. India ranks lowest in the world in terms of internet quality. Now, the index actually covers 81% of the global population, all right? And under these 5 pillars also, there are 12 more indicators. That's what I want you to go and actually check out. Now, what this index actually discovered was that it is not necessary that if you are having a very high GDP, you might also be performing very well on the digital quality index. For example, these countries, Azerbaijan, Bulgaria, China, Croatia, Greece, China, if you remove China, all the others are pretty small countries, but they have done really well on the entire index, especially in e-security and affordability of internet connectivity. But on the contrary, Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, mostly the Arabian countries, have very high GDP per capita, but given the conservatism in their states, They have performed lowly on the internet quality and the e-security arenas. Coming to the India rankings. So overall ranking is 57 on 85. Please remember this. This is important. Affordability, ninth place compared to countries like UK, USA and China also. Quality, 78th place. In fact, at the bottom of the pillar. E-infrastructure, 79th place. Actually quite understood. And electronic security, 57th position. And lastly, e-governance, 15th place, just below countries like New Zealand and Italy. So this part is okay. We are doing a lot of initiatives. In fact, all the day, every day when I'm talking. All right. Yes, Rangesh, that's what I said. Now, 1 and 2 is the correct answer. Okay. Coming back, the important part is if you see, like yesterday itself, we were discussing a question on the Unacademy special class that we launched the Alek news e-newsletter by the Ministry of Tribal Affairs. There's a Swasth portal. I have another platform coming up on the National Analytics and Data platform. So we are completely digitizing the services. In fact, for most of the government schemes or any other new initiatives government is taking, you can find it on the internet. So apart from the accessibility of the annual reports, a lot of other things are already being done. And the recent being the launch of the taxation platform, that honoring the honest. So that was the very recent digital initiative that the government is taking. So definitely e-governance is gaining track. But what is the problem here? The problem here is that you launch the portal, but the portals are very simplistic. There is no regular maintenance of the portals, like what information is going there. In fact, even if you consider a couple of websites of the ministries themselves, the annual reports have not been updated. For example, if you go to MEA, a lot of briefs that are available are from January 19. So if you really want to prepare something for 2020, it is very difficult to find. So that upgradation needs to be constant. So that's one of the problems with e-governance. Going further, what are the initiatives that the government has already taken under the Digital India program? E-Kranti is the National E-Governance Plan 2.0. A couple of that I already covered in my previous session on 15th August when we discussed India Yearbook. So I discussed E-Sangam, E-District, Digishala, and a couple of other initiatives under this category. If you want to know more about E-Kranti, it is there in the India Yearbook under the Methi chapter, electronics and all the other chapter, it is there. So please go and visit it, or otherwise the question I've already done in the 15th August YouTube channel. So you can go and visit that question also. Digilockers, yes, pretty much very good actually, because you can store your entire official documents on the cloud. So this one I really like. Bhim app is there, but half of the time it doesn't function for me. Pradhan Mantri Gram and Digital Saksharta Abhiyan. In fact, your Digishala is actually for the same reasons. Digishala is for creating awareness amongst people to about digital payments. So another one is here for the rural areas, and Bharat Net program. So under this recently, optical fiber subsea optical fiber was launched in Andaman and Nicobar, and we are planning that in the next 1000 days, as the PM announced, the entire India, or the 6 lakh panchayats will be, 6 lakh villages will be connected with the optical fiber network. So that's high on agenda. This question, as this indicates, is a little bit hard for you. All the cities are in Madhya Pradesh. Yes, Varun, e-Praman also we did, right? Remember, authentication service. All right. So this question here is a little bit hard. This is directly from News on AIR website. So if you have read the PIB, the News on AIR release about the Swachhata Survekshan Awards, then you will be able to do it. I haven't mentioned the names of the cities, but I have put them on the map. So let me know if the map is not clearly visible. I give you 25 seconds to read and 30 seconds to answer. I will be counting the time here. So your 25 seconds starts now. The only reason I haven't mentioned the cities is I want you to get pretty much familiar with the map and how to do the mapping exercises. If you're familiar with India's geography, half the battle is already won with civil services. For any answer, anything, you can go draw a map, show it on the map. It really gets you more marks in the mains examination. And it's a good way to learn. So, yeah. All right. Another 5 seconds from your 25 seconds, and then we'll move on to the 30 seconds to answer. Well, Suman, you were right. Okay, your time starts now. Start answering. What happened? Are you guys by any chance going and reading that Swachhata Sarvekshan Awards so that you can find which city is what? All right. Nandu says it's D. Good. So the fastest internet search wins. Okay, Nandu says B or D. Nandu, how are you going to answer B or D in the examination? Have I given that kind of option? Naveen is very sure. Ma'am, it is D. All right. Anyone else? See, it's a little bit difficult. The idea was to keep it difficult so that I can show you the maps. The idea was not to pull your leg or something, but the idea was to show you how to look at these things on the map. All right. So I guess Nandu is close by and Naveen is correct. So basically the option is option number D only. It's actually correct. So let's look at what is what. Your option number 2 is actually Bhopal. And for the 4th time in the row, Indore is the one which has won the award for the cleanest city. Alright. Best municipal corporation which has won from positive feedback of citizens is Ratlam. Alright. Then you have Jabalpur here in the fastest growing city award. So let's look at it. There you go. So this was the news on AIR release that we had. I'm sorry. Burhanpur has the fastest growing city award. Jabalpur is for the positive feedback of the citizens. So coming here, this was released yesterday night and I was already talking about it that IPM is supposed to release it. So they started, I guess, in 2016 and Bhopal has been really rising up the ranks. It was ranked 19th last year and now Bhopal is in the 7th position. Now, amazingly, I'll tell you two things. So, Madhya Pradesh has received a lot of awards this year, but Chhattisgarh is the cleanest state in India. So, the award for the cleanest state goes to Chhattisgarh, but maximum cities are from Madhya Pradesh. Alright. In fact, Madhya Pradesh actually ranked third in the category of states with more than 100 urban bodies performing best in the country. So that means the municipal corporations are really working well thanks to the government of Shivraj Singh Chauhan. So they have been working really well actually. And another noteworthy point is since the last 3 surveys, 20 cities of Madhya Pradesh have always been in the top 100 cities in the country. So actually let's talk about it more. Your fastest growing city or point number 1 is Burhanpur here at the border of Maharashtra and MP. This is Bhopal. Cleanest city I've already told Indore. So E is Indore. Bhopal is almost in the middle of MP. Your Jabalpur is closer to your Chhattisgarh wala area, your B number. And this one, best city in the country, so that's 4 is B, and your Ratlam is closer to the border with Rajasthan. Ratlam actually reminds me of the movie Jab We Met. I don't know if you're getting the reference. So this is what it is. Are we clear? Yes, Aditya. Delhi has non-clear. Yeah, I did not give the names, Rangesh. Great, Suman, thank you for that information. That even Jharkhand is there. I'm pretty happy if Jharkhand is there. Suman is like, ma'am, how can you leave out my state? All right. Rangesh, I did not give the names on purpose, just so that we'll do it and then we'll be able to remember it. So I'll pinpoint it here again. This is Ratlam. This is Indore. Bhopal is just besides Indore in the center. Jabalpur is in the east of Bhopal, very close to the Chhattisgarh border. Burhanpur very close to the Maharashtra border, and I think we are done. These are all the cities that they are supposed to be. All right, let's move on. I will just actually focus, zoom in and show you the rest of the cities. Guys, can you see the map? So if you can see the map, Bhopal is here, Ratlam very close to the Rajasthan border, very close to the Udaipur district or the Rajsamand district. Indore, Ujjain, Devas are in close proximity. Khandwa you have here, the Battle of Khandwa, very, very famous. Burhanpur here, very close to the Maharashtra border, and Jabalpur very close to the Chhattisgarh border. Are we clear? Guys, do you remember we also talked about NTPC project on the Rihand dam or the Rihand NTPC project? Do you guys remember about the fly ash thing that we discussed day before yesterday? So do you remember the relation to the Son River? Do you remember? All right, Rangesh. Thank you. We'll see all the top 20. Don't worry. So do you guys remember Son River? The Rihand River is actually a tributary of the Son River. Yes? आदित्य वो तो तुमको पता होना चाहिए बैटल ऑफ खानवा कब हुआ था that you should remember. Okay, so coming here was your Rihand power project at the border of Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. So I wanted to show you this. Okay, let's actually move on to the next question. These are the 20 city names which are there, which actually featured in the top 20 in terms of cleanliness. You don't need to remember everyone. Just remember the top 5. So Indore, Surat, Navi Mumbai, Vijayawada and Ahmedabad. Are we good? So we have actually 2 cities from Gujarat in the top 5. Okay, chalo. Let's move on to question number 3. 20 seconds to read and 35 seconds to answer. All right, in another 5 seconds, your class is there. Your timer starts. All right, so D, most of you have already answered it. Yes, it's correct. Neither 1 nor 2 is actually correct. So we'll see what is produced by whom. Anybody else wants to answer? All of you have answered it correct. So let's see the generations of biofuels. So first generation is actually made from food sources. Sugar, vegetable oil, animal fats, etc. Includes bioalcohols, biodiesel that you can find on some of the petrol pump stations. All right. Second generation fuels are produced from non-food crops. Right. So they can be, they are not edible and can be considered as waste. For example, stems, rice husks, wood chips, fruit skins, etc. Third generation are from microorganisms like algae, for example, butanol. And fourth generation is produced from crops that are genetically engineered to take high amounts of carbon. All right. So we are still working on that, the fourth generation biofuels. So this was in news because government has set the target of 10% bioethanol blending of petrol by 2022 and to raise it by 20% by 2030. So this is the only point that I want you to remember from this entire discussion, apart from the generation of fuels. And this entire ethanol blended program was launched in line with the National Biofuels Policy. So it was recently in news. Are we good? Because these are the only 2 points that I want you to remember regarding the biofuels process. And currently, the ethanol blending in our petrol stands at 5%. So that's another point. Sanjeev, it's not A, it's D. Out of the two statements, none is correct. So let's move on. Okay. Coming to question number 4, I'm not discussing the entire length of that. You can go and check those, or I'll share the PDF with you guys today so that you can go and read the biofuel wala thing. All right. Let's move on to the next question. 20 seconds to read and 30 seconds to answer. This is a pretty easy one, so your time starts now. This should be done by everybody. It's very easy. And who has just joined in, please let me know. So Suman was right so that I can scold them for being late to the class. It is a pretty enjoyable experience. Sweta is your answer and Akash is your answer for this question. Question number 4. All right. No, actually both, Akash, both the options are actually correct. So this was again on news on AIR. Basically, they are trying to replace their 19th amendment with the 20th amendment. So this 19th amendment was brought in by the previous government in Sri Lanka, which was not the Mahinda Rajapaksa government. This one is the Mahinda Rajapaksa government. So Mahinda Rajapaksa could not himself fight the presidential elections due to this 19th amendment limitation that he can only hold the presidential term twice. So now the Gotabaya Rajapaksa, his brother, has become the president. So now they are actually removing it and replacing it with the 20th amendment so that the term limitation goes away. And yes, under the 19th amendment, the executive powers of the president of Sri Lanka were given to the parliament. So that was a constitutional reform. Are we good? Only Sanjeev has answered it correctly. Rest all of you have answered it incorrectly. So both 1 and 2 are correct. Are we good? Everybody understood? If you haven't understood, let me know. Question number 5. 15 seconds to read and 30 seconds to answer. It's pretty easy. Yes, Rangesh. All right, your time starts now. Yeah, everybody does it correctly, right? This is pretty easy. What I really want you guys to do after this question is go and research a little bit on the Hindustani music and the gharanas, because which one, Aditya? The last one? I will do that. Yes, it's Pandit Jasraj. All of you are correct. What I want you guys to do is go and look for Mewati Gharana. It's actually known as apprenticeship in Hindustani vocal music. Interestingly, Pandit Jasraj used to play tabla before, but then he observed that the tabla pairs or the accompanying artist with a vocalist are not given equal amount of respect. So he changed into becoming a vocalist, and then the rest is history. In fact, he's married to the daughter of V. Shantaram, one of the very famous directors of the Hindi film industry. So that's there. And yes, he has got all of these, the Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan. He recently passed away in US. So what I want you guys to do is go look for Hindustani music, because Kishori Amonkar, she was the last one of the classical vocalists that we had. So she died in 2017 and he died recently in August 2020. So please go and look for the Hindustani vocal musicians. Who are they? What did they work on? What are some of the terminologies related with Hindustani music? I will also try to include that in our sessions, and the gharanas. So be prepared. You might face some questions in the coming days. All right. No, Sweta, they are not drafting a new constitution. Aditya, answering your question also. So coming back here, actually, what happened was the previous government was predominantly Tamilan. So they actually had an affiliation with the Indian government also. Now, they were brought in because Tamilans wanted to have the constitutional reforms for a very, very long time, being given provincial autonomy, being given certain other, what do you say, affirmative action within the Sri Lankan constitution, because Tamils are a minority there. So, the last government which came in was not the Rajapaksa government. When they came in as a part of the constitutional reform process to democratize the entire governance form, they amended the constitution and limited the presidential term to 2, so that there is no dictatorship. So Mahinda Rajapaksa's government did not do much about the Tamilan question. So they wanted to ensure that his governance doesn't come back again. He has already ruled twice. He shouldn't be coming back again, because he was not doing anything favorable for the Tamils. If you remember the Lessons Learned and Reconciliation Commission in Sri Lanka, it was set up, I think, in 2013, 2014. And still now there are a lot of missing Tamil people in Sri Lanka. So he hasn't done much about that. So the term limit was for him indirectly there in the constitution. Now, since his party has come back into power, his brother is now the president, because he couldn't, Mahinda Rajapaksa couldn't fight the presidential election. So his brother is now the president, and now they are amending the constitution again, because now they came in with 2/3 majority in the parliament. So now they have the authority to amend the constitution. So just like what keeps happening in India, whichever government gains the majority, they try to do it on their own. So now they are trying to replace this 19th amendment, and under which they are trying to do away with the limitation in the presidency, so that maybe when the next elections happen, Mahinda Rajapaksa can again become the president. However, he is the de jure president right now. If not the de facto, he's the de facto president right now, if not the de jure one. So that's how it is. Yes, Aditya, 20th will be the new amendment which will replace the 19th amendment. Are we good? Everyone understood? And along with that, I want to give you another important information. Bangladesh has for the first time received the largest loans for development from Japan. It was also in news. So please go and check out these two news on the News on AIR. Very, very small articles. All right. Moving on, let's come to question number 6 under the quick 10 session. All right. Okay, this one is pretty easy. So I was just talking about Digital India, so it is one of the initiatives under that. So 20 seconds to read and 30 seconds to answer. Varun, actually, I am pretty amazed by you. Since the day you started till now, a lot of things have actually changed about you. So that's a good thing. You have become more patient. Your etiquettes have greatly increased, I should say. and you're doing really well. So very happy to have you here. Okay. Sweta and Supriya, you want to change your answers? We still have some time to go. Guys, read the answer carefully. My green coded questions usually have a trap. You guys are quite aware of that, right? Are you guys not aware of that? D is not correct actually. It's B. The platform is not live as yet. Only the vision document was released in January 2020. The platform will be live in 2021, and we still do not know who is actually going to host the platform. So they are doing that in the as a answer to the problem that we do not have enough data in the public domain. Also, there is no data analytics, and third, sometimes there are data inaccuracies. So to correct all that data and to have all the government data democratically accessible to the public, this is the National Data and Analytics Platform. The Niti Aayog is steering the entire initiative, all right? And the platform will be very simple and intuitive. That is how they want to design it. However, recently only the task force has been set up for technical assistance. The platform is not live. So option number 1 is incorrect. Sweta, we actually cannot say that. We'll have to do the entire reading of their constitution. Their constitution is good for their governance because they have been doing well on a lot of human indicators. And Sri Lanka has been a very prosperous country. And the problems that they are facing now, or whatever is happening, some of it is Indian doing. And the second thing, in a country wherever there is diversity, there is a minority, a significant minority, and there's a significant majority, and you have a huge neighbor which has a huge interest. For example, India is a neighbor, and the Tamil government here, Tamil Nadu government here, has a huge interest in whatever happens to Sri Lanka because of the Beti Roti ties with Sri Lanka. So definitely our interest in Sri Lankan politics remain, but Sri Lanka is a sovereign state, and then there are too many factors. China is involved. Sri Lanka does not like us because of whatever happened with the IPKF in 1991, and it was a wanton country for almost 20 years. So we'll have to wait and watch. We cannot say it's a rigid constitution. All we can say is the constitution has worked well for them till now, but yes, more autonomy to the minorities will definitely be in India's favor. We will score a brownie point. So we are seeing it from the Indian prism. We yet do not know what are the ground realities properly, but yes, Tamils were a perjured minority. They have been a lot of riots have happened, and a lot of reprehensible activities have happened against the Tamilians. But that actually has very historical roots. So if you want to know more about it, I have taken an entire session on IR on the India-Sri Lanka relations. So there I have explained the history of Sri Lankan politics. So if you could visit that, that would really help you out. Does that answer your question? They are not they are still a minority, Varun, there. They are still, Tamilians are still a minority. Sri Lanka is a Sinhala majority country. So that is still there. And the roots lie from the time when the British were there. So just like what they did in India, divide and conquer, giving promotions and job reservations to Muslims, then to Hindus, creating a rift between them. They did a similar thing between Tamils and Sinhalas. So once the country got independence, unlike what India did, they decided that they have had enough and they had biases against the Tamilian minority. So it's a part of history and you'll have to look at it very objectively. The only thing that we can do is to wish that Sri Lanka remains a one country and there is not much war going forward and they are able to prosper. That's what India wants because it is integral to our own security and our own political and strategic interests. In our country, the minorities are still minorities. I don't understand your question regarding that because Hindus are still a 80% majority. So I don't know what are you talking when you talk about minorities. If you're talking about Muslims, they are still a minority. And my answer would always be that the integrity and unity of the country is above everything, above the regional divisions, above the caste divisions. And as an Indian, we should not have any biases when it comes to that. It's a part of the civil servant's value. So we need to adhere to that. We need to adhere to our constitution. Okay. Going forward, if you want to read more about the National Data and Analytics Platform, this is the PIB release. The link is here. Please go and check it out. Question number 7. Pretty easy. However, the names of the national parks you might not have heard. So that's what UPSC also did. So you can change the color coding to medium if you want. Alright. Because UPSC throws similar googlies, so I thought why not try it myself. So with that, 20 seconds to read and 30 seconds to answer. The time starts now. Good morning, Ram. Why have you come late to the class, Ram? You know the class starts at 11. You're 40 minutes late. Now, as I keep telling everybody, if you are late, you lose. Because lose follows late in the dictionary, right? For a reason. So if you are late, if you're not punctual, if you're not regular, you're already defeated. Nobody needs to do anything else to defeat you. Alright, I've got some answers and unfortunately none of them are correct. The correct answer is D. All of them are correct. Mukundra Hills is in Rajasthan. It is correct. Simbalbada is in Himachal. It's actually at the border of Haryana and Himachal. And Van Vihar is in Madhya Pradesh. So let me show it to you. All of them on the map. Aditya skip. Alright, Jairam, not a problem, not a problem. If you in case have to switch off your laptop or anything, you can surely go, not a problem. Sweta has answered it correctly though. So let me show you the map and let me show you where all these things are actually. So Van Vihar is here. Can you guys see in Madhya Pradesh? This is your Van Vihar here. Alright. And let's come to Mukundra Hills. It is at the border of Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, but it is in Rajasthan. Van Vihar is in Madhya Pradesh. And your Simbalbada here is actually here, this point. So it's at the border of Himachal and Haryana. Very near to Kalesar National Park. Kalesar National Park we've already done. Yes, Varun, you're right. It's in Kota. So Prakash also answered it correctly. All right. Yes, Varun, you're right. Van Vihar is in Bhopal. Very right. So are we good? Simbalbada is here at the border of Haryana and Himachal. It's actually in Dhaula Kua region. Close to the Dhaula Kua region. Are we good? Everybody able to see? Chalo. Let's move on. If you still have doubts, let me know. We'll keep doing that so that we'll cover the entire gamut of these questions. Alright, question number 8, similarly timed. Now, there is a speciality about these thermal plants. So, all the 3 are in the top 10 largest thermal plants in the country. So, that's why they are here. Let's see how many you know about. And 15 seconds to read and 30 seconds to answer. Murugveni, you are late to the class and your name is quite long. So if you could tell me your name, it will be very helpful. And your time starts now. And guys, please don't be late to the class. The class starts at 11, not at 12. Aha, Aditya, pretty confident. Very good, very good. Prakash is answering from the office. Pretty good. Anybody else wants to answer? I already got my 2 correct answers. Sanjeev, all are not correct. Sipat is in Chhattisgarh actually. In fact, it draws water from the Hasdeo River. We already discussed the Hasdeo River. Do you guys remember? It's a tributary of the Mahanadi. Hasdeo River in Chhattisgarh. So Sipat is in Chhattisgarh. Chandrapur is in Maharashtra on the Chargaon and Irkai dams. So Chargaon and Irkai are small rivers in Maharashtra. Dadri is in Gautam Buddha Nagar of Uttar Pradesh and it draws water from the Ganga River. So 2 and 3 only are correct. So those who have answered option number B are correct. So most of you, all right, Veni, I will call you Veni. Most of you have answered it correctly. Rangesh has decided to skip, but all others have answered it correctly. Oh, Aditya, it's your hometown. Then you must be knowing. That's why you were so sure about it. Okay. All right. So you're from Chhattisgarh, Aditya. Nice to know. I have a huge hell lot of diversity in the class. Great. So let's actually look at them. Where are all of them located and what are some salient points about them? So let's come here. Chandrapur is here. Can you see? Chandrapur is here. Sipat is here. Chandrapur is actually at the border of your Maharashtra and I guess what is this? Maharashtra and Telangana, I guess. Yes, Maharashtra and Telangana. Sipat is here in Chhattisgarh. And then you have Dadri. So let's see, where is Dadri? Dadri is up here in Uttar Pradesh, very close to Delhi. So it's approximately 50 kilometers away from Delhi. So these are the 3 thermal power plants. They are in the top 3. So let's read more about them. So Sipat, as I already told you, it's the 8th largest thermal power station in India. It's a coal-based power plant operated by NTPC. So almost 3000 megawatts. It gets its water from Hasdeo Barrage. Coming to Chandrapur, it's in Maharashtra. It's in Chandrapur, Maharashtra, the same name. And it is owned by the Maharashtra State Power Generation Company. So it is the biggest power plant operated by the State Power Genco. It is also approximately 3000 megawatts. It draws its water from Irai and Chargaon rivers, the local rivers. Alright. And it needs 1/4 of the electricity needs of Maharashtra. NTPC, Dadri in Uttar Pradesh, very famous power plant. Alright, again approximately 3000. So it is both coal and gas based and gets its water from the Ganga. And the gas is sourced from the Hazara Bijapur Jagdishpur pipeline. So go and locate this pipeline in the atlas. It is there in the school atlas, I think in the first few pages. So you will be able to actually locate this very nicely. And your Sipat thermal power plant was also called the Rajiv Gandhi Super Thermal Power Plant. So just remember that. Let's move on to question number 9. Okay. So this was in news regarding the recent judgment of the Supreme Court regarding PM CARES Fund. So we'll discuss this in greater detail. 25 seconds to read and 30 seconds to answer. Your time starts now. All right, all right. Pretty good, guys. This was an easy one. This was a sitter. Everybody should get it correct. Perhaps I should change the color coding. All right. Yes, B is the correct answer. 1 and 3 are correct because it is both for natural plus man-made disasters. So actually, the National Disaster Management Plan has been refurbished a lot of times, the latest being in 2019 when the COVID wala thing struck. So it actually is a framework and direction to the government agencies on how to actually manage the disaster. So the entire disaster management cycle is covered. Sendai framework for disaster reduction. Do you guys remember? We have already done that. It is in Japan. Sendai is in Japan and this disaster framework So there were some changes made to this framework and we have completely aligned ourselves to the framework. I have already done this question previously in the YouTube. Do you guys remember? Yes, all of you are correct. It's option number B only. So let's actually talk about it. Why was it in news? What happened? What did not happen? So your NDMP, that is the National Disaster Management Plan, now includes Prime Minister's 10-point agenda for disaster reduction. I will discuss that. This 10 points were actually given in 2016, but they become very relevant given the current situation. All right. And the National Disaster Management Plan, yes, it was released in 2016 along with those 10 points only and has been updated in 2016, 18 and 19, the 19 being very recent one. Now, coming here, recently the Supreme Court said, please listen to this very carefully. Yes, PM fund is actually, see, they are two very differently related things. So, Rangesh, let me talk about it. You'll get more clarity on this. So, what happened is, people were asking about under the RTI on where the funding is coming under PM CARES fund, or there were some other queries under the RTI related to the PM CARES fund. Now, they said it's a public authority and it should actually disclose whatever is happening there. So the case went to Supreme Court. Now they said the PM CARES fund is actually a registered society, right? So you cannot get it audited by the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. It's not public money. People can contribute individually, people can contribute likewise, but it is not supposed to be audited by the CAG because it is not a public authority. It's kind of a privately held fund only. So that's what the government, the court said. So the first thing was there will be no audit by the CAG because it is a public charitable trust. What it can be done is it can be audited by an independent auditor. So a separate set of rules apply to such public charitable trusts. Then the second thing the Supreme Court said is that the money of the PM CARES fund will not be transferred to NDRF. Now, what happens if you transfer the money to NDRF or National Disaster Response Fund is that once it comes under the National Disaster Response Fund, it actually comes under the Disaster Management Act. Now, if it comes under the Disaster Management Act, then it becomes a public authority and then it has to answer questions under the RTI. So, the court said that we are not doing it because the PM CARES fund is registered under the Registration Act 1908. It's a charitable trust, so we are not doing that. And it is not receiving any budgetary support or government money. So, it does not need to go to the Comptroller and Auditor General, right? However, the DM Act, the NDRF actually receives budgetary support and government money, and that's why the auditing is necessary by the highest auditory authority in India. Now, there was also a direction, the people were seeking a direction from the Supreme Court that a new national disaster plan should come up. So the government denied that also. The court denied that also. It said that the present plan that the government has is good enough and we are not going to give directions to the government on that. That is executive's prerogative on how it wants to deal with the disaster relief situation. And finally, importantly, there was also a request by the people to the Supreme Court that the minimum relief that is to be given under the disaster management needs to be amended. The court refused to do that also. So now kind of the Supreme Court is completely aligned with the executive in their way of dealing with the emergency situation that has now arisen. But please remember why the important point to remember here is unless it is government money or it has budgetary support, you cannot put it under RTI. So that was the whole intent of this question. Are we understood? Yes, Aditya, right. It is a trust money. So if it is a trust money, you can get it audited from an independent auditor, right? For example, EY. So EY does a lot of auditing for these kind of organizations. In fact, while I was working at EY, so we were the auditors for more than 90% of the company. We are huge in taxation. So we audit almost all the private companies. We sign their reports and say that yes, after auditing, all your accounts seem to be fine. All right. So with that, I want to show you the 10-point agenda of the PM. All right. So this 10-point agenda was given in November 2016 at the Asian Ministerial Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction. Important points. The only takeaway I want you from this question is that you remember these 10 points. A question might be asked, which are which of the following are a point are a part of the 10-point agenda of the government? Because disaster risk reduction is becoming pretty important given the current coronavirus crisis. Yes. So the first one is all development sectors must imbibe the principles of disaster risk management. Pretty generalized statement, you won't make any mistakes here. Work towards risk coverage for all, that is predominantly for the poor households to the small and micro enterprises to MNCs also, right? So everybody should be included in the risk coverage. Third, encourage greater involvement and leadership of women. That is always there. If you can have women involved, if you can have half the population involved, things will move on pretty smoothly. Risk mapping has to be done globally so that we are aware what kind of risk might come in future. Right now we were not aware, so the entire virus that has been coming from China has caught everybody in surprise. So he is talking about risk mapping globally. So remember this point. It's a little bit difficult to remember, so remember this point. Leveraging technology, so that is a very common point. Without technology you will not have any disaster risk reduction agenda. Network of universities to work on disaster issues, so bringing in the academia. Utilize the opportunities provided. So even apart from technology, so technology, women and social media will also become one of the major points in actually harnessing our need for disaster risk management. Local for global is always his agenda, so we need to build local capacity, pretty easily remembered. And we need to learn from the disaster. Sounds very generic, but is a part of the 10-point agenda. And definitely greater international cooperation. Does this ring a bell? Because we recently discussed the UN 75 report, where most of the people, it was very high on agenda, most of the people internationally suggested that yes, after the coronavirus crisis, they definitely think that more international cooperation should be there on health and well preparedness to actually sail over any kind of disasters. So with that, we'll move on to the next question, question number 10. Very easy, 15 seconds to read, 30 seconds to answer. Any doubts from the previous question that you have? All right, another 5 seconds and then we'll start the timer. All right, the time starts now. So who wants to answer this? It's pretty easy. Aditya, you shouldn't get it wrong. We have discussed this. Okay, Swati has answered. All right. Except for Sanjeev, everybody is incorrect. Guys, he is getting the most difficult questions correct. What happened? Why B? Actually, option number 2 is correct. India is not a part of the East Asian Observatory. So only option number 1 is incorrect. And that's why option number A is the answer. So it is not formed by the members of East Asia Summit. No, it's another consortium that has come about to actually join hands for the purpose of astronomy. They want to develop better infrastructure. No, India is not the member. They are still in talks to become a member, and the 30-meter telescope is also under this program only, the East Asia Consortium. All right, so it's not B, it's actually A. Let's talk about it. So what they are presently trying to do is to restart, in fact, to restart the observations from the James Clerk Maxwell Submillimeter Telescope on the summit of Mauna Kea, Hawaii. Aditya, do you remember this? We discussed this in detail, very detail in the science and tech classes on Unacademy. Yes? Do you remember that, Aditya? So who are the members of East Asian Observatory as of now? China, Japan, Taiwan and Korea are full members. Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia and Indonesia are observers. So India is in discussions to be a member of it. And what will India be doing here? So India will be providing technical expertise and manpower. So we are contributing on our own. So that is how it is. Let's move on to question number 11. It's a repeated question. So your time starts now. Everybody should get it correct. We have already done this in our previous session. Yes, Sweta. India is in preliminary discussions to join. India is not a member and hence option number 2 is incorrect. Option number 2 is correct and option number 1 is incorrect. Alright Aditya, then go and check the classes back when we discuss the space technology sessions. Yes Aditya, go and do that. Yes, all of you are correct. It's option number C. We have already done this. Women, Business and Law 2020 report published by World Bank. Very rightly said. We just discussed it a day before, so I've kept as it a repeat question. Did you guys have a chance to go and visit this blog? Go and visit this link. Get a little bit more detail. See, if you're able to have a summary of the reports that have come by and put it into your current affairs and then use it in your answers, you really have a better chance of scoring better marks in the mains. And that is what all matters because it will take you to the fire and merit list. So please start doing that. As soon as you can do that, please do it. Do it right after the class. Have your notes prepared. All right. Sanjeev, it's not D, it is C. It's the World Bank which actually takes out this report, Women, Business and the Law 2020 report. All right. Okay, question number 12, pretty easy. So your time starts now. All right. Rangish, I will not be able to send the links. Just type World Bank, this and this report, you will get the link. All right. It is available on the internet. So I'm not sending links to anyone. At least do that work yourself. All right. Okay. Why are you guys answering D? Mercosur should be very clear to everyone. If you're preparing for civils, this is pretty basic. Easiest question here. So only 3 people have got it correct till now. Sweta, Jairam and Varun. Shivranjani, why is it wrong? Suman, why is it wrong? And Aditya, how can you make such a mistake? I'm baffled. It's South America, Brazil, Argentina, Venezuela, Paraguay and Uruguay. So it's a trading bloc of South America, very famous. Mercosur, basically these are the Spanish essentials. So I'm not taking the Spanish name here, but it is a trade bloc of South America. These 5 countries are a part of the Mercosur. Now it is kind of dormant because these countries are not doing well, but it's a very, very well-known trade bloc. So this question is regarding the trade blocs. NAFTA is one. Mercosur is second in South America. EU is for European Union and African Continental Free Trade Agreement, AFCA. So this and Gulf Cooperation Council. Now RCP is also there. What I want you guys to do is make a table, trade bloc. All right. Or I will have it in the questions tomorrow. So I want you guys to come prepared tomorrow with this table, a couple of wildlife sanctuaries, right? So that if I ask you here or about Hindustani music, you should be able to answer. Trade bloc, countries, established, headquarters, and if possible, aim. What is the aim? What do they want to do? So make this chart. There are only 3 or 4 trade blocks, large trade blocks in the world. Make a chart, have it with you. It will help you out. All right. So let's move on to question number 13. 15 seconds to read and 30 seconds to answer. Another 5 seconds and your time starts. Time starts now. I've got some answers here. Anybody else who wants to answer? Yes, it's actually... So I got my first 3 answers. Yes, it's Ashfaqullah Khan. So he was sentenced to death for the Karakori conspiracy case in 1925. The HSRA or Hindustan Socialist Republic Association was set up by Ram Prasad Bismil. Have you guys watched that movie in which Ajay Devgan becomes Bhagat Singh? Do you remember that movie? Ajay Devgan becomes Bhagat Singh, the movie Bhagat Singh itself. So they have actually talked about Hindustan Socialist Republican Association and all the other things. Do you guys remember? Yes, everybody has done it correctly. So have you seen that movie? Because it is there. So Ram Prasad Bismil set up the Hindustan Socialist Republican Association in 1923 after Gandhiji withdrew from the non-cooperation movement due to the Chora Chori incident. So then they moved towards militantism because everybody was very disillusioned. They said when we were at the top of our game, we could have really done something, and Gandhiji withdrew because of that small incident. So it's mentioned there in Bipin Chandra, it is mentioned in A.C. Chatterjee's India's Freedom for Struggle. So this should have been correct. Yes, Rang De Basanti, no, not just Rang De Basanti, Ajay Devgan's movie Bhagat Singh. There were 2 movies on Bhagat Singh. One was with Bobby Deol, the other one was Ajay Devgan. So the Ajay Devgan movies is quite authentic. He is shown till the time they meet the gallows. The entire thing has been discussed. The round table conference, their hanging, everything has been discussed in that movie. All right. Let's move on to question number 14. Very easy. So I'll start the time right away because we discussed this day before yesterday itself. Is it Shaheed, Akash? I don't remember the exact name. Is it Shaheed only, or was the movie Bhagat Singh? I don't remember the exact name. You guys might be remembering it. I saw it when I was pretty young. All right. Anybody wants to answer this? We discussed everything yesterday, didn't we? Okay. Sanjeev, we discussed this yesterday. How can you get it wrong? How? Not acceptable. We discussed this yesterday itself. And Sweta, you too. We discussed it yesterday. I mean, day before yesterday in the class. Saman, you also. And Akash, why are you getting it wrong? I discussed this question in detail. Sorry, this is not Wildlife Sanctuary National Park. These are the names of the philosophers. And this is the philosophy. But I think it was quite clear. So I have got only a couple of correct answers. The first one was by Afri. I think she is the only one who listens to me in the class. Aditya correct, Jairam correct. Varun, why did you get it incorrect? Yes, Soman, it's C. You're right. And all right, okay. Sivranjani, why B? Why B? All right. So Badrayayan was not for Vaisheshika but for Vedanta philosophy. He is Vedyas only. We discussed that. Gemini is Mimamsa and Patanjali is Yoga. So 2 and 3 are correct. Option number C is correct. So let's look at this. So Your Nyaya school is about logical argumentation and discussion. We already discussed that. Vaisesika is the atomist school, that everything is made up of atoms. Sankhya school is by Kapil Muni. We discussed the other day that there is one Prakriti and Purush. So they discussed about Dvaitvad or dualism. There are two aspects of knowledge. Yoga is by Patanjali. Mimamsa or Purv Mimamsa is there. It is about the existence of Vedic reality of many, Anekantvad. And Uttar Mimamsa or Vedanta talks about the Vedic traditions, right, developed by Vedvyas or Badrayan. So let's look at this. Your Sankhya Darshan has been given by Kapil. Patanjali has given Yoga. Kannad has given Vaisesika Darshan. Nyaya Darshan has been given by Gautam. And Gemini has given Mimamsa and Badrayan has given Vedanta. So don't forget it now. Yes, Akash. Great. Jairam has given a tip. So please remember it that ways. Mr. Jai Singh, you are late to the class almost by an hour and 10 minutes. And I don't like people coming late to my class. So don't be late. If you want to be here, be on time. Coming late is battle already lost. All right. Today we are doing some mountain ranges, all right, and deserts and peninsulas. So take a snapshot of this screen, all right, and then answer the question on the next page. So everybody, when you take a snapshot, just let me know in the chat section that you have taken the snapshot, and then I'll move on to the next screen where the question is. Guys, have you taken a snapshot? Should I move to the next slide or the question slide? Everybody, answer to me in the live chat so that I can shift to the next one. All right, I'll move on to the next one. So this is your question, and let me tell you, we'll cover the entire map like this in the coming 15-20 days. World geography will be on your tips. This is your question. You can start answering. All right, I'll go back to the previous one. Aditya, are you done? Everybody done? Let's move on. There you go. Read the question properly. And start answering. Yes, Sweta, I'm showing the question slide. Great. So quickly, 10 seconds have already passed. Another 20 seconds to answer. Neelam is late to the class. She's my new Anarkali. I don't like latecomers to the class, Neelam. You know the class timing is at 11 a.m. So be on time to the class. Yes, late is equal to lose. So I have got some answers here. Another 5 seconds for you guys to answer, and then I'll discuss the correct answer. All right. So only 3 correct answers so far. Sanjeev, very good. Answered it correctly. So yes, option A is correct. I have asked which of them are incorrectly matched. So 1, 2, 3, 4 are all incorrectly matched. Only Zagros Mountains in Malaysian Peninsula has been correctly matched. You can't be more busy for your class, right, Neelam? I don't take such kind of excuses. I also get busy. I work for almost 15 to 16 hours a day. You can't be late for a class. That's no excuse. Unless you are ill, there is no excuse. So Shantini, it's not B. Alright? The correct option is A. Did you guys read the word incorrect? So let's actually go and check it. This is your Rocky Mountains. Alright? This is your Andes. This is Drakensberg. This is the Malay Peninsula. D is your Zagros Mountains near the Arabian Peninsula, and this is your Gobi Desert. Alright, so I will just zoom it in so that everybody can see. This is your Rocky Mountains, alright, this area, entire area, expanding the Canadian and the US part. Coming down is your Andes Mountains in South America. Do you guys know both these mountains are formed due to your converging of the plates, right? When the plates converge, they actually give rise to these mountains. Yes? Yes, Neelam. No, Gobi Desert is not in Africa. Gobi Desert is here, China. So Kalahari Desert is in Africa, Namib Desert is in Africa, Saharan Desert is in Africa. Gobi Desert is not there. Gobi is a cold desert. So Gobi is essentially Mongolia, Aditya. Do you remember? Yes, Shantini, I know. Yes, Neelam, I expect that. Zagros Mountains is here. Iran and the rest of the area around Persian Gulf. Alright. Here is your Gobi Desert and here is your Malay Peninsula, this area which extends. I will show it to you on another map so that it's very clearly visible. Let me take you there so that this is clearly visible here. Let's take a look. This is your Rocky Mountains, alright, your Mount McKinley, River Yukon, the Great Lakes, Appalachian we have already done. Baja, California is the Baja Peninsula, very famous peninsula. Alright, there you have the Mexican Plateau. This is Yucatan Peninsula here, Gulf of Mexico. Now, Caribbean Sea we have already done. I did it in the yesterday's class on Unacademy. Caribbean Sea is here, underneath the Greater Antilles. Then you have the Andes Mountain here in South America. Both the Rockies and the Andes have been formed due to the converging plate boundaries. Let's come to Africa. The Drakensberg is the tabletop mountains in the southern African region here. Zagros Mountains here, just above the Persian Gulf section. Gobi Desert here in Mongolia. It's a cold desert. You should have known it. Yes, Akash. And coming here, we have the Malay Peninsula. So do you guys remember the Borneo Island thing which we discussed? That Borneo Island is the only island in the world which is ruled by 3 sovereign states. So Borneo Island is very close to the Malay Peninsula. Are we clear? We have already discussed the Kimberley Plateau and the Great Barrier Reef, the Tasman Sea and the Bass Strait yesterday. So this is your map which I discussed today. Are we good? Should I move on? Now we are starting with the rapid fire round. So for the new students, the rules are top 3, fastest 3. I'll give you 30 seconds to read and answer both. So those who answer it the earliest and in a correct manner feature in the top 3 leaderboard. And after the 5 questions are done, I will announce the winners for today. Alright, the winners of the rapid fire round. So I hope the rules are clear to everyone. So let's start. Question number 16 on your screens. And your time starts now. I think I forgot to put the timer here. So I will keep counting the time and letting you know. So another 25 seconds. All right, I got my top 3 fastest 3. Sanjeev, Afreen, and Suman. It was in news, so you guys got it correctly. Yes, Papam Reserve Forest is located in Arunachal, near the Pakke Tiger Reserve. So I will show it to you. Yes, it is a part of the Indo-Burma biodiversity hotspot in India. So only B option is correct. So I got my top 3. Aditya, it's option number B. Akash, it's option number B. Akash, how can you do it incorrectly? You're from Northeast. Shantini, it's option number B. Neelam, you also answered it correctly, but I already got my top 3. Sanjeev, Afreen and Suman. Varun and Sivaranjani, it's option number B. Alright. So basically, it was recently news. Do you guys remember the hornbill question that we did yesterday on Unacademy sessions? Aditya must be remembering. So hornbill is the state animal of Kerala and Arunachal both. So this entire thing was in news because there is a lot of illegal logging going on in Arunachal, because of which the entire hornbill habitation is under threat. So Papam Reserve Forest are a part of the Pakke Tiger Reserve only, very close to them, and it's an endemic bird area. So what are endemic bird areas? They have been declared as important habitat for the birds, declared for conservation by BirdLife International. It's an intergovernmental organization responsible for conservation, preservation of birds, and to also delineate bird conservation areas. All right. So BirdLife International, we've already discussed it in the previous YouTube sessions. What I'll try to do is, I think by the end of August, I will give you the PDF of all the YouTube sessions that we have had so far. I will compile them and give it to you so that you guys can revise it before you go for the UPSC prelims. All right. Yes, Aditya. So if you want to read more about it, it came in news in the Down to Earth magazine in September 19. So the entire news was there. Now let's see. So your Nameri National Park and Forest Reserve is in Guwahati, Assam. Sorry, not Guwahati, but yes, it is in Assam. Your Pakke Tiger Reserve is here. I will just show you in a zooming in of the map. So it's at the boundary of Assam and Arunachal Pradesh, that is the Pakke Tiger Reserve, and it's also wildlife park with hornbills. So they come under the vulnerable category in the IUCN list. I have discussed this entire thing in the Unacademy session yesterday. So whoever wants to know more about it, please go and watch the recordings and download the PDF from there. The questions are there. All right. So coming back, I'll show you something more. So we also have, do you guys remember the Bhareli River? It's one of the tributaries of the Brahmaputra River. We already discussed it in the India yearbook session. Remember? This is the Pakke River, and just on the eastern side of this Pakke Tiger Reserve, you have the Papam Reserve Forest. Logging is allowed here. But now they are trying to preserve the entire thing for the hornbills. And Nameri Wildlife Sanctuary is in Assam. It's at the border of Arunachal Pradesh and Assam. And the Nameri River flows through it. There are very small rivers here. So that's about it. Are we good? Yes, Neelam, you're right. Tinsukia Nameri. Very right. Are we good, everyone? Okay, question number 17 on your screens, and your time starts now. So 30 seconds. 20 seconds remaining. Ten seconds remaining. All right, I got my top three. Afreen, Sweta and Neelam. Sanjeev, it is option number C. Akash, it is option number C. Both are correct. Actually, this is regarding the green credit scheme. That the Forest Advisory Committee actually has given a go through, but it hasn't been implemented yet. So usually what happens is, whenever the industry wants to use forest land, it has to find the land contiguous with another forest area or somewhere else, which is contiguous to another forest land, and it has to give money to the forest advisory committees or the forest authorities to develop that land into a compensatory forest, so that whatever they have raised out, whatever destruction they have caused to the environment, can be replicated or grown elsewhere. So up till now, the forest authorities were collecting that money, but nothing was being done. No area was being developed. So forests are being raised, but new forests are not coming up. So the Forest Advisory Committee under the Green Credit Scheme decided that now what we'll do is, we will not take the money. We will completely outsource the entire forest growing part to a third party, and the industries can then trade with the third party in terms of forest. So for example, if this is a entire patch of land, and if they are destroying the forest here, then they can buy a compensatory forest developed by a third party here and go on doing their work. So that way, the funds that have been lying idle for the CAMPA or the compensatory afforestation management program will not be left idle. They can be fully utilized. So this is the green credit scheme. It came up in January 2020. If you want to read more about it, the Hindu article is here, all right, which talked about it. So it came in January. Now let's come to question number 18. This is very easy. So your time starts now. 30 seconds. Aditya, that was option number C. 25 seconds. Twenty seconds. This is very easy. If you have attended my IR sessions, you will be knowing it. Especially Sanjeev. Sanjeev has been coming to the IR sessions, and I guess Varun also. Unfortunately, everybody is answering it incorrectly. 10 seconds. Varun, how could you do it incorrectly? You have been coming to all my IR sessions, and I discussed this in great detail. So another 5 seconds and then the time is over. No more correct answers? Alright. Varun, I'm not taking this answer because you answered it later. So Aditya, Shivranjani and Akash are my top three. And only 3 people answered it correctly later on. Neelam, you answered late. So Aditya was the first one to get it correct. Shivranjani second and Akash third. So yes, it's related to China and Myanmar. So Pokfa actually means brothers from different mothers. So they have fraternal ties. That's what this entire slogan was actually given by the Chinese President Xi Jinping. He visited Myanmar in January 2020 with a lot of schemes, a lot of stops for Myanmar, because that time Myanmar was isolated around the world for the Rohingya crisis. So he said, let me support you, we'll give you funds, we'll develop your dams, we'll develop your other power plants, etc. We'll give you the money, don't worry. So Myanmar this time has been very careful. They have seen what has happened with Sri Lanka. So they said, we don't want a lot of money from you because we won't be able to pay the debt. But nonetheless, we welcome your partnership. So that was a cause of concern for India. And I discussed the entire thing in great detail in China and Myanmar. In fact, those who have attended the IR session on India and Myanmar, I had shown them a cartoon of China carrying a shopping cart and Chinese President Xi Jinping coming out of the airplane with a sop of schemes. Do you guys remember? Yes, Aditya. No, Varun, you're not supposed to forget this. I taught this, and China and Pakistan, it cannot be. See the language. Pokfo. This is Burmese. From where does it look like to you, Urdu? It is not Urdu, it is Burmese, right? So it is related to that. All right. This is also there in the Hindu article opinion. So go and check these newspaper links. All right. All right. Question number 19 on your screens, and your time starts now. 30 seconds. Pretty easy. This was very much in news. We've already discussed this once. 25 seconds to go. 20 seconds to go. Fifteen seconds to go. 10 seconds to go. We have already discussed this question. 5 seconds more. Last 5. Guys, have you read the question properly? Because I haven't got a single correct answer and the time is over. So I'm not going to take any more answers here. It is not option number D. It is option number B. It is not 1 and 2. Read this carefully. India was not one of the major producers of HCFC. India was one of the importers. We did not produce it. So actually it is not doing anything wrong with us. So if we are not importing it anymore, it is actually bringing down our import bill. Secondly, we are also phasing out the ozone depletion substances listed under the Montreal Protocol. So just by this one stroke, we are able to actually completely reduce at least one type of pollutants from the Montreal Protocol. But it is not produced in India, it was highly imported in India. All right. So we did this somewhere in January only, I guess January, February. Let's look at it. So nearly 50% of the consumption of ozone depletion chemicals was actually attributable to HCFC 141b in our country. All right. This is used as a foaming agent or a blowing agent in the production of polyurethane. Now we have phased it out. So with that one reduction, we have become the first in the scale in Article 5, or the first in the Montreal Protocol to have completely phased out this chemical, HCFC 141b, from the country. It was used in foam making. Are we good? Neelam, I'm not accepting that answer. So nobody got it correct. All right. So let's move on to the next question, the last question for today. Question number 20. And your time starts now. 30 seconds. Very easy. This has been in news for a while now. 20 seconds to go. Fifteen seconds to go. 10 seconds to go. 5 seconds. And your time is up. Only Sivranjani has done it correctly. It's actually Oxfam. So last question has been done correctly only by Sivranjani. So this was actually released by Oxfam. So what they are trying to say here is that first of all, there is a huge gender inequality in terms of unpaid and underpaid care and work. Mostly women do that, right? And a lot of women are not actually paid for it. So that is one part of the report. The second part of the report was the inequitable distribution of wealth, that the top 1% actually own the entire assets, the combination of assets that is owned by the remaining 6.9 billion people on earth. So both the things have been addressed by this report: global inequality and inequality in terms of unpaid and underpaid care and work. So gender inequality and wealth inequality both have been addressed in the same report. So that these are the highlights of the report. I will share this document with you, or these points with you, later on, and it was released at the 50th annual meeting of World Economic Forum, right? So this is there, and they also say that the number of billionaires in the world has actually doubled since the last decade. That's another observations of this report. So coming further, I will announce the winner for today. All right. So both Afreen and Shivranjani are in tie. Both have featured in the top 5 twice. So Afreen and Shivranjani, very well done. Okay. So both are the winners for today. Afreen and Shivranjani. Shivranjani, congratulations. You have made it to the leaderboard for the second time. So definitely hard work and regularity pays. So Afreen has also been quite regular to my classes, and so has been Shivranjani. So with that, congratulations to both of you, both the women. Very well done. And thank you and have a good day. Hope you have a brilliant morning. The remainder of the day goes on well and you're able to prepare well for your examinations. And that's all from my side.